quite a feeling every day to know you're going to go face a big challenge, but you've got the right kind of people who want to be there to do it.
Carl Jensen, chief ironworker, leads a crew putting up the massive columns that will carry the longest concrete span in America.
Well, we're in a canyon. I mean, 60, 70 mile an hour winds. So we got a lot to look forward to, I guess.
Carl is racing JP's team on the next column to reach road level, but Carl's crew has fallen behind. The pressure's on. To stay on schedule, these two crack teams of ironworkers have to top off their columns as soon as they can. But their progress depends on the weather, and tempers are boiling over.
Corey, pull that bottom handrail out. No, I gotta come way low on that end. Ugh.
This construction team may finally go over the edge. The two crews of ironworkers continue to race to top off the massive columns. The columns will support the biggest concrete arch in the United States. Carl Jensen and his team arrive on site to begin their 10-hour shift, but there's a problem. The winds inside the canyon are rising beyond safety limits.
25 miles an hour, we can't go out in a man basket, is what the situation is. 30 miles an hour, they can't really use the cranes, as far as luffing the cranes over.
We knew when we bid the contract, it said right in there that we were going to have some windy days, but I think we've had a little more than usual this spring. I mean, the last 3 months, we've almost lost a third of our time.
Carl's team have to wait and hope that the winds will die down. For the moment, they're anchored to the ground, but they're impatient. If they don't reach the column in time, they'll lose pay. The high winds are just as big a problem at the precast factory, 12 miles away. The bridge will be made of 440 separate segments. Every one of them has to be produced here, in a dust bowl in the middle of the desert. Pouring concrete here is plagued by the same strong winds and boiling heat, similar to the Black Canyon of the Colorado River. The deadlines here are just as tight as on the bridge. Every day they need to cast 2 huge concrete segments. Each one has to be perfect.
It's getting hotter. We'll just go through a couple of different scenarios to make sure everything works out and we don't get any cracks.
Any cracks would mean scrapping the segment, wasting precious time and thousands of dollars. For the men here, it's a daily battle against the elements. Back at the bridge, the winds have dropped by 5 miles an hour. It looks as if Carl's crew can start work.
I'm almost getting ready to see what they've done to me here.
There are 15 pairs of massive concrete towers on the bridge. They're now approaching their most perilous point. As they rise hundreds of feet in the air, they become more and more precautious in the high desert winds. Very soon, they'll need bracing, but first they have to be lifted up. The columns are built side by 2 teams of ironworkers. Carl and his crew have fallen behind JP's crew on the next tower. They need to catch up, and fast. But they get off to a bad start when JP's crew heads out first.
We're going to be 3 ahead by tonight. We got them. Guaranteed.
Ain't gonna beat us that way, You're gonna be too busy to get ahead of us now. Yeah, we're gonna catch them tonight.
One crew has been a little bit behind because we've had some alignment difficulties, and the other group is ahead of them, and so there's a little contest going on there.
All right, James, working up.
Carl's crew of ironworkers are top pros. Dangling over 1,300 feet in the air is just a daily commute for this crew. They're not the kind of guys who like to take a step back, and they certainly don't like to come in second. As soon as they reach the tower, they know they won't be making up ground today.
We're gonna go up to 90,000 again. Just stop me at 90,000.
Finally, the last segment is in place. The bad news, it's crooked. There may have been an error at the precast factory or during installation. Either way, it's out by a fraction of a centimeter. Just about right simply doesn't cut it. They'll have to raise the segment and start again. At hundreds of feet up, it's a dangerous move.
The risky procedure is lifting the segment back up again, because sometimes the segment doesn't come up when it should, and it tends to want to spring up. We've had them jump up a couple feet. It gets a bit risky.
At the precast factory 12 miles away, they're ready to cast their first block of the day. They have no margin for error here. They spray to stop specks of dust from damaging the concrete as it sets. Each block is measured to within fractions of a centimeter.
Well, there's a spec book on it. It has to be in tolerance. And intolerance is within 4 thousandths, and 4 thousandths is not very much to play with. But if you get much more than that, then it's just throw away stone and start over.
The latest segment's in trouble. In the punishing winds and heat, the concrete's setting fast, but it's not quite true to spec. If they don't act now, hours of work will have to be scrapped.
So they're down there turning the brace, and we're gonna bring it back in because that's 3 thousandths over our spec. You won't move it at all.
They've got minutes to rework the segment before the concrete sets. It's a race against time.